So Dave asked me some time ago to begin preparing again a message to be able to share with you guys. And I've been praying, but over the last couple of months, it's really been reiterated over and over to me what it is that our Father had for us tonight. And see, we all go through things in this life, on this earth, in this planet, that build us up and things that tear us down. Sometimes just day-to-day life can be a roller coaster of ups and downs based on the people we're around, or even our own emotions and our own heartaches. And I don't know about most of you, but it seems to me that the teardowns come a whole lot more often than the buildups. And there's a lady named Peggy Birch. She wrote an article in Today's Christian Woman that I read that says the way that our brain processes negative things, we can take one negative thing and it takes at least two positive things to rebuild that negative back out of us. But that can be up to 5 positive things. And that kind of depends on where you've come from in your life. If you've lived a life of constant negativity, of being beaten down, it can take a lot more than 2 positives to help rebuild. And Dave understands that a little bit more about me today. So when you think about the world we live in today, it seems like an unattainable goal to be able to actually keep building people up. Thank you. To keep building people up when there's so much negativity around us. Everywhere we go to a cashier and the cashier's down, running things through. They just want their day to be over. We go to the gas station and the guy's pump isn't working right, so he's mad. We never have negativity at Barbara's shop. So we get negativity all around us all the time. And when we think about that, we have to determine whether it's worth giving positive feedback the attention it needs to make a difference. Is it worth the time and attention to not only look at those around you and find the good in them, when all you immediately gravitate to is the errors that they cause, or the frustration that they bring to the table? How about for that person that frustrates you the minute they walk in the room and they say something that is completely inappropriate, and you know it, and you're actually expecting it before they walk in? Or the person that constantly makes the same mistakes over and over again, even though you know they've been shown, they've been told, but they still make the same mistakes? Or how about that person who's caused you pain emotionally or mentally or physically in the things that they demand, the things they require, or the things that they say to you? Is it worth the time to begin to seek out the good in those people and to begin showing God's grace and mercy to them, unmerited favor to them? Can we begin to look at others with God's mercy and not condemn them for the things they've done to us? Because we think about what things we've done to our God, and if he judged us based on that, just food for thought. There's been many times in my life that I've been told I'm a very strong woman, and typically someone will tell me that, and I don't even know how to respond. I feel like I'm just the opposite of that. I know strong women, and I consider myself honored and blessed to be their friends, have them in my life. But I can't even begin to place myself near to them in what I see as strength. Most often, if I can gather my wits about me enough, I'll just simply say, no, it's just Jesus that they see, because I know my weaknesses and I know the wreck I am without my God. Dave's emphatically nodding over. No, he's not. So my challenge to you tonight is I want you to begin to look at God as your strength. And some of you may say that you already know that, but I want you to think of it a little differently. I don't want you to only be praying to him to give you strength, but to actually be your strength. I have a lovely friend who recently was seeking a promotion at work. She had the skill set. She knew she could do the job. But she told me she was not interested in the position at all unless it's where God wanted her. And that's where she could make a difference in the organization through him. She also told me it was the first time she'd ever been able to completely relinquish something like that to God and feel totally comfortable with it. That is strength, in my opinion. We think of strength in a lot of different terms. We have mental strength. We use that to manage day-to-day tasks, prepare for situations, handle change, just the conflicts. We have emotional strength that we use to separate fiction from reality, hopefully. Maybe not always, but hopefully, to take that next step when life throws a wrench in our plate. We have spiritual strength to accept the difference between women. Did I say, spiritual. To recognize when a situation is of a spiritual nature versus a physical nature, because that's two different worlds. We have physical strength, where we have to accept that men and women are built differently for different capacities, and we do not need to be in competition with that. We have self-strength. How do you perceive yourself as far as being strong? When you think of that term, which category do you think of it in, mentally, physically, spiritually? When you say, I'm strong, which of those categories do you put it in? We gain strength from our peers, from our family, and from our God. Everyone here will probably say yes, but stop and do some soul searching. Do you allow God to strengthen you? And do you allow him to do that through prayer and through fellowship, through worship? And how about for reading his word? Then there's perception versus reality. How do people say they see you? And how do you see yourself? What is really true, and how do you determine it? We all know Philippians 4:13, I know we do, which states, I can do all things through him who gives me strength. And I don't know about you, but this is one of the most commonly quoted scriptures that I know about strength. It's all-encompassing. It's a rock we can stand on because we can do all things through him who strengthens us. All things. Not some, but we can do all things. Emotionally, mentally, individually, in our marriages, on our job, in our family, in our church. All things. But more than that, tonight I want us to look at it a little differently. I really want to take a different aspect. Most often, even when people come up for prayer, we pray for God to strengthen us or to strengthen those around us, especially in times of trouble and difficulty. And that is good. It's important. Don't stop doing that. It's vital. Isaiah 40:29 and Psalm 119:28 both talk about God giving strength to the weary. In Isaiah 40:29, he gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, he increases strength. And in Psalms 119:28, he says, my soul melts away for sorrow. Strengthen me according to your word. So we know it's important for us to pray for strength. We know that. I don't want to negate that at all. But what I want to talk about is about God being your strength, not just giving you strength, because that's different. Dave can say he supports me, or he can be my support. We know God can give us strength, but sometimes we need him just to be our strength. We face things in this life that there is no human way possible that we could make it through on our own. Just no way. Times when we feel like we're being crushed and we will not make it through to the other side. It may be times when a child or a family member is ill, help is elusive. It may be a time of financial difficulty when it appears there's no way to recover. And those days it seems like there's a weight hanging over us that we cannot escape. We just can't get away from it. And I wish tonight that I could instill in each of you a knowledge that it's during these times that we realize that we don't have that strength. It's impossible. We just don't have it. We can't even glean it from anything around us. But it's also during these times that we find out that he is our strength. And that's it. Psalm 46:1 tells us, the Lord is my, nope, he didn't say that. Tells us that God is our refuge and our strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Well, when we're in the midst of struggle and we throw up our hands and say, I can't do this, God, he can step in and say, finally, I've been waiting for that. I get to be your rock. I get to be your strength. Rest in me. Well, Psalm 28:7-8 declares that the Lord is my strength and my shield. In him my heart trusts and I am helped. My heart exults and with my song I give thanks to him. I feel like that kind of pretty much sums it up. The Lord is the strength of his people. He is the saving refuge of his anointed. Well, he becomes our fortress when we have nowhere else to run. When we trust in him, we release him to be able to help us because we stop trying to do it ourselves. We're taught in this world we live in that we have to look out for number one, that we have to be able to do it ourselves, that we have to be able to be independent enough to manage it on our own. And we can't. We have to be able to turn to him. The ultimate release of being able to say, okay, God, it's yours, whether it's good or bad. Psalm 118:14 declares that the Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. When we're in a place of persecution and we want to raise our hackles and come to our own defense, we know that we can trust him to be our defense. Let him be your defender today. When we look to our own defense, we usually do more damage than good. We ruin our witness, and we often look guiltier anyway, so it's a waste. God will bring out the truth, and he will defend you. It may take time, but it will happen. He says it in his word. It will happen. And to reiterate that, Isaiah 12:2 clearly stated, "Behold, God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid, for the Lord God is my strength and my song, and he has become my salvation." What an amazing promise we have that we can hold on to with both hands there. Get a good grip on it. And Isaiah went on in 33:2 to pray, "O Lord, be gracious to us. We wait for you. Be our arm, which is our strength, every morning, our salvation in times of trouble." Well, some very well-known Bible stories that reflect how God was the strength of the individual include David facing Goliath. He was the least likely candidate to take on this giant, but he knew that in the strength of his God, he could do this. Full confidence. How about Rahab hiding the spies, a prostitute who knew that God had a different plan for the land she lived in? She knew it. So she took on the strength and said, I can do this. I can hide these spies. I know it could kill me. Doesn't matter. How about Abram, who followed God in obedience to sacrifice his son Isaac, knowing that God would make a way based on his word that Abram's descendants would number more than the sand of the seashore? Or Joseph following through in obedience and marrying Mary, even though she was pregnant, which was not a good thing in those times. Today it's somewhat normal, it seems. Or Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, 3 young soldiers who refused to bow down to the idols the king Nebuchadnezzar laid out or to worship his gods, knowing that God would deliver them from whatever punishment man could give them. Or Daniel, after King Darius decreed that no one would worship any god or man except him, but Daniel still bowed down to the God Most High, knowing that our Father would save him. So my question to you tonight is, are you trying to get through your life struggles on your own strength? If so, how's that working for you? Yeah, I find that it's not very effective for me either. But, the whole 3 fingers pointing back at me, God gives you a message because he knows you need to learn it. So, no condemnation or judgment here. Are you praying for strength, but not releasing the situation to our Father? I'll tell you that through the 20 years I spent with my late husband, on a seesaw of addiction and sobriety, this became my norm. I would pray for strength to endure, to be the wife I was called to be, to not ruin my witness, to look to our Father for all things. But I always struggled with releasing it fully to God. And I still struggle with this and have to remind myself that it's the right thing to do. I really struggle when there's conflict. I want to set things right, make sure there's no misunderstandings. I want to come to my own defense. rather than letting my Father do it. So I'm not sure how any of you relate to the message God has for us tonight, but I'm going to challenge you to take a stand on these promises that I've shared. And if you want a list of these scriptures afterward, I'd be happy to jot them down for you. But right now it's going to be a little bit on you. I want you to be able to stand on the promises that God will be your strength for all things in your life. All. That key word. Do you have something that you'd like to release to God tonight and ask Him to be your strength in? And I'm going to open up the altar for prayer. I've placed some slips of paper up here in 3 different spots and some pens. And I encourage you to come up and write your issue down that you want to release to God. It doesn't have to be detailed. You and your Father know exactly what it is. This is just an exercise, because when we actually do something, it tends to stick with us a little bit better. After you've written it down, you're welcome to spend some time up here in prayer as Sam plays. Or if we can partner with you in prayer, Dave and I will be up here to pray with you, so please come and join us. If you don't have anything to come forward for, that's fine. Please be respectful. Spend some time thanking our Father for His great mercy and grace in your own life, because not everybody has that. We're going to take these issues tonight and we're going to tack them over here onto the cross. I have some tacks here. They're not for anybody's eyes except you and our Father's. I did yellow paper tonight so that we can take them off and shred them after the fact. And that will be between you and our Father. It has nothing to do with us looking at it. So please be aware of that. And I'm going to go ahead and come down and join Dave in prayer.